Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Focus Week 14 preview is the word, not review. We've done that. Also, let me just say it now. We're not scruffy bastards. We just do record on the same day. I'm putting the secret out there. Anyway, I'm just joined with James. As you can see, it was the same on the review. How are you doing? The same as you were about 10 minutes ago, I assume?
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah. Right, let's crack on with the predictions, as that is what we are doing. Obviously, that's the preview. That is what we do. So I'll hand it over to James because I can't remember what the games are.
So we'll start off with probably the could be game of the week straight out the gates. We've got Lions versus the Packers on Thursday Night Football. Finally, we've been blessed with a good primetime game. But who do you think is going to win this one?
Ooh, sorry, it's getting on a bit. We're doing this one quite late. I am going to go, and it's really hard to pick. You know, I'll give you a little bit of analysis first, and I'll tell you what I'm going for. The Lions are the best team in the league. It's really hard to bet against them, go against them on anything. They nearly lost on Thanksgiving. If they'd lost in overtime, obviously, who knows? But they were in a position to be taken to overtime by the Bears, who are not having a great season. The Packers won again. The Packers are looking very, very good. In a different division, they'd be flying at the top. But obviously, this is such a strange division in the NFL. 3 great teams and 1 mediocre, if not great. It's really hard to pick. My heart says Lions because I really don't like backing against them. My head says Packers because they've just got a full head of steam and they are just going. And are they in the playoffs currently? I assume they're in.
Yeah, they are just about.
It's a huge game for both. If the Lions win this, I think they probably will win the division. Obviously, you know, the Vikings are sneaking up on them, but I can't see where the Lions lose apart from this game. They have got the Bills, actually, so that's another one. Give me the Lions, but give me the Lions reluctantly, not as excited as it's been. All Lions. Not how it has been all season. Give me the Lions. I think they'll win. But yeah, great game. Game of the week straight out the bat.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Lions. I think it's just I can't bet against the team that's 11-1 or whatever it is. You just can't risk betting against a team like that. I do agree with you. I don't think it's easy. And with many Lions games, it is literally a case of, oh, it's the Lions. They've won. Move on. But with this week, it's like, they're going to win, but it might be a lot closer than people think. Again, I would not be surprised if the Packers pull off an upset here. If there's any game they're going to lose, you said it's going to be this or the Bills. But they will be the 1 seed. I'd be absolutely amazed if they don't come out through this as the 1 seed in the NFC, unless they lose maybe both them games and the Eagles win out the season. I think that's the only way they get there. But yeah, for me, just it's a great team, isn't it? There's quality all around, and you know they've rebuilt this team from the absolute gutter in like 2 years to turn it from what it was to what it is now. It's quite insane to see the difference since Dan Campbell came in. Hence why he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. But I am also going to back the Lions as our first sweep. We will also add Kingdom Rex predictions in at the end of this to show you who they want or who they think is going to win. So when you see the stupid prediction, just know it was Caden's. Next up, potential trap game here. The Eagles play the Panthers in Philadelphia. Would you be shocked to see the Eagles maybe just get at least a close game?
Yes. I want to say no because they've been playing really well, actually, the Panthers, in the last couple of weeks. Bryce Young has really switched it on, as I mentioned in the review. Sorry, I keep going. They're far too close words, Dan. We need to mix it.
It's literally one letter.
This is what I mean. It's just the same word. But I don't think so. You know, who were they playing again? I've actually completely lost who they were playing.
Who are the Panthers?
Yeah.
Eagles.
This is going to shit. We're doing this at 9:30. It's getting on a bit. I've been up all day. Yeah, look, Eagles are on an absolute streak. If they were going to lose any game, it was going to be last week. And they came through that. Okay, it wasn't convincing. You know, a different day, Justin Tucker, different boots on. Who knows? But look, the Panthers are still the Panthers. As good as they have been last couple of weeks, you know, Xavier Woods in the backfield has really switched it on. 2 interceptions, looking like, you know, the player that they thought they had. Yeah, give me the Eagles, but I would love it if the Panthers went there and won. That'd be great. But yeah, still think the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't think many people bar me would love it more to see the Eagles lose this game. It would be absolutely poetically hilarious to see them lose this game. As I said, the Panthers have been, it's not the same Panthers team we saw in the first 10 weeks, whatever. And it's not the same Bryce Young we saw in the first year and a half of his career. Finally, we get Alabama Bryce, who is just showing up, making plays, just looking like the quarterback, which they thought he was when they took him first overall in the draft. But yeah, I'd love to see them lose. I really would, but I just can't see the Panthers pulling it off in this one. I think you said they were limited in that Ravens game, but you've got to bear in mind is the Ravens is one of the best defensive units in the league when they're on it, and they were on it in that game. So yeah, hard to back against the Eagles, unfortunately. Sort of similar story to the Lions with the run they're on. You just don't really want to back against them. I think if you bet on the Eagles many times this season, I don't think you would have been let down very often. So I am going to back the Eagles reluctantly. As far as it goes with good games, as the first two, we now move on to a terrible game. The Tennessee Titans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know what we deserved to be subjected to this torture, and there is also later torture we see the Giants are playing this week, but I can't imagine this one will be on Red Zone all too often, but who do you think is going to win this one?
Certainly not the Mac Jones-led Jacksonville Jaguars. With Trevor Lawrence out, the only bit of spark is gone. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he's a lot better than Mac Jones. So I'm going to go for the Titans. Like you said, this is not going to be popping up on Red Zone all too often. The Titans are looking a tiny bit better. It has to be said. Nick Westbrook-Akine has played very, very well for quite a few weeks now. Will Levis is looking better. Still not great, but he's looking better than he has been. I think they'll get through it. I think they'll win. I don't think it'll be comfortable because I don't think the Titans are capable of winning a comfortable game. But yeah, this is potential worst game of the week until your game. I know they're both at 6:00, but cry, that is two horrible, horrible games. So, but yeah, give me the Titans, but it's going to be a horrendous game. I hope I don't have to see any of it on Red Zone, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think we're going to have similar stories for most of these games, but I'm also going to go with the Titans. I just don't see a world where the Jags win this game, as much as it's probably their only chance of winning a game for the rest of the season. As you said, I mean, Westbrook-Akine, I think it's under the radar completely. Like, he's been like unbelievable. He's on like a run of like 6 or 4 or 5 touchdowns in a row in 4 consecutive games. Like, and I mean, if you look at like from a gambling perspective, gamble responsibly. He's always really high odds to get a touchdown, which is crazy to me because he's their best weapon by like quite a distance. He's got like double of any other receiver in that team. So I mean, just because no one really knows who he is, which is mental. But he's been unbelievable. Levis has genuinely not been that bad this season.
No.
I think he's much better than he was. I think they can rely on him for a year or two, at least more. I think give him that full season, draft him someone like McMillan or Burden or Egbuka, just a receiver who's going to help him out. Because you get one of them with Westbrook-Akine, and then you've still got Ridley there as well. It's not a bad receiving call that.
No,
in the NFL at all. But they should have enough to beat the Jags. To be honest, Trevor Lawrence injured. I just don't see Mac Jones leading any team to a victory unless they play the Raiders anytime soon. But
they do.
Yeah, so I think he might have a chance in that one, but I don't think he's going to have a chance in this one. I'm going to go the Titans as well. They've looked a weird game against the Commanders, just chaos all around in that sort of first half, when they were like 21 points down in the first half. So it's just sort of a wash out there, but I think they'll win this one. Next up, your favourite time of the week, the Buccaneers against the Raiders in Tampa.
Now, every other week, I've backed against us. I'm still gonna, don't get me wrong. Like, don't be too worried about that. But if we play how we played on Friday, granted, we always play better against the Chiefs. So, the players are way more up for it. But if we can produce that type of performance, it genuinely wouldn't shock me if we left there with a win. But here's why we won't. Aiden O'Connell is not an NFL starter. I don't care what his stats said. I don't care what I said in the review. I just do not think that he's that guy. He's fighting for the position. Look, this is his run to the end of the season now to prove we don't need to draft a quarterback. This is his time to say, look, I'm the guy. Don't go and take Shedeur Sanders. It's me. But I don't think he's got enough, to be honest. The Buccaneers have been very good this season. I can't believe they're currently sat outside the playoffs because of how the Falcons are doing in the division. But look, Baker is Baker Mayfield, and he's the Baker Mayfield that was at Oklahoma. I think it's fair to say. And there was absolute chaos when he went down for a play, and they had to bring Kyle Trask in. The whole of Tampa Bay was hiding behind their sofa. But I think that this is going to be an easy Tampa Bay win. Look, we don't fare very well there at all. I know it's another hot state, so we don't have to play in the cold. Yeah, but we do have to play a game of football, and we're not very good at that. So yeah, another loss. Not too bothered. Get me close to that number 1 overall pick because I just want to get out of this absolute slump that we've been in for years.
Yeah, I'm going to back the Bucks. Someone who saw us play against them very, very, very recently. They look great. Mike Evans looks great. Now he's back in the frame. Bucky Irvin's having the season of his life as a rookie. I don't think anyone really saw that one come in, but he's probably been best rookie running back. I think I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head. I probably definitely missed someone there, but yeah, he's been unbelievable for the Bucks. They have that dual threat with Rashad White as well. He's still very good at this level. The Raiders, just as you said, Brock Bowers is sort of your only saving grace from this season. I think it's for you to take away and be happy with, but yeah, I know Connor's not going to prove himself. I think you're pretty much set on Shedeur Sanders, and I think you'll get him because I think even if we try and get him, he's going to end up with the whole Eli Manning situation. He's going to refuse to play for us anyway. So I don't see a world where he's not a Raider by the end of the draft. Again, I'd be amazed if we take him, but I don't see it happening. I think we're probably more keen on Cam Ward. Although we have seen quite a lot of stuff linking us to Shedeur Sanders in recent weeks. We've been very heavily involved in it, but I just think he'll force his way through with Dion as well, just to get him to the Vegas Raiders. But yeah, I'm going with the Buccaneers. Quite straightforward for me. Didn't really take much thinking time. Next up, luckily for the Dolphins, at home, not in the cold weather because they'd probably lose, against the Jets. I'll start off on this one. I think Dolphins, said, they just struggle in the cold. Expected, you can't really expect them to be too great in a climate when they're playing in Miami. What is it? 8 or 9 times in the season.
It's hot, is what it is.
Yeah, it's hot, and obviously they're playing teams near them as well, where it's still hot, and it's just not ideal for them. But yeah, the Jets are just the Jets, aren't they? It's just been awful. Aaron Rodgers. The fact there was a conversation about Aaron Rodgers potentially being dropped, it just says it already about how the season's gone for the Jets. Get all them weapons in. They've probably got one of the best receiving cores in the league at this point, and they're still useless. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins again. Again, you could see the room for the Jets. They did have a decent game last week. For their standards, it was all right. Still lost, but put up a decent game. But I am going to go with the Dolphins to win this one.
The Jets are just, I said it so many times at the start of the season. They've got too much to lose in terms of players. I really don't think they have. They're just not a great side. We saw the sort of Green Bay link up between Rodgers and Adams start to get a little bit better last week. But the Jets are not a great football team, and the Dolphins with Tua are not, awful. So yeah, give me the Dolphins.
Next up, we have the Vikings against the Falcons. Probably an interesting one, maybe. I mean, for me, I am gonna back the Vikings in this one. Again, it's one of them teams. They've not necessarily been amazing, but they're just winning games, and that's what you need to do to be in the playoffs. And they should be in the playoffs. Be amazed if they aren't by the end of the season with a 10-2 record, which is absolutely crazy. If you said that at the start of the season, Sam Darnold would lead the Vikings to a near perfect record, but they've been getting better since their sort of little slump where they were still winning but weren't looking great. They looked a bit better this week. I think just when you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison on your side, you're not going to struggle too much, even with the quarterback who's probably not your future. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with the whole Darnold situation, whether they do renew his contract or whether they give JJ McCarthy the reins going forward. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I feel like, you know what you're getting with Darnold, he'll do the job. But do you want to develop your rookie quarterback, or do they do a situation where someone like Atlanta or we saw Jordan Love for many years, he was sat for a while behind a sort of veteran quarterback and just see what happens. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one.
The difference between Jordan Love being sat behind Green Bay Aaron Rodgers and being sat behind Sam Darnold is pretty high. I don't know what they'll do. I think it's a definite interesting story to follow during the offseason. Back to in-season in terms of this game, Falcons for me are a very, very strange team. 1 week they look unbelievable. The next week they look absolutely useless. They're still top of their division though, so they've still got a lot to play for in terms of getting into the playoffs. They're another team to follow actually in the offseason. They paid Kirk a lot of money, but they've got Penix sat there. He's not getting any younger. So I don't know. It's a close one. You've mentioned the Vikings. They just seem to slog it out, and they always seem to be picking up these nitty-gritty tiny sort of wins, but look, that fares well for the playoffs. You don't see many playoff blowouts, so they're usually teams that are pretty evenly matched. I'm going to go for the Vikings. I backed against them for a couple of weeks because of how they've been winning games, but it never worked. So yeah, give me the Vikings, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it's going to be very similar to a lot of the Vikings games this season.
I am intrigued. I am just about to check because is Kirk injured? Because he defo came out in that last game, I'm pretty sure. Because I saw something about it might be Penix's time. So I'm going to check because I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to see if I can check faster on you.
Status on fantasy just to see if it says on here. No, I think he's all right actually. Fair enough, but
they lost.
He did also throw 4 interceptions in that game against the Falcons.
I was going to say he threw 4 interceptions, and
I think did Penix come into the game, or did he?
I assume he might have done. I'm going to check this for you now because I'm intrigued. It was not like it was a massively tight game. No, he didn't. No,
he didn't.
Unless he didn't pass the ball, then no, he didn't. But yeah, Kirk Cousins had a shocking game, so I assume that's why it was being said.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up, the Giants against the Saints. This could be worse than the Titans-Jags, in all honesty. Taysom Hill just got ruled out for the rest of the season. For the Saints, so there goes their probably best weapon at the minute, as far as Olave being all over the place with his injuries. Look, if it was 6-7 games ago, I'd probably back us to win this one because, with the way we were playing against teams like the Seahawks and stuff, we probably had enough to beat them. Now, I don't see a chance. I don't even know who's going to play D-tackle. Probably Elijah Chapman, who, again, he looked all right. That little spell where he made the roster because how well he played, which is impressive because he's rapid for a D-tackle. I don't know if you saw it, but he's actually flying for a D-tackle, which would be, if he does get the reps, which I think he will, I'd be shocked if it's not him. I don't know, if I'm being honest with you, who our other D-tackle options are apart from Chapman. So I don't know who it's going to be if it's not him. But with no Dexter Lawrence, no Theo Johnson, our only receiving option really is Malik Neighbors. Bellinger at tight end just isn't good. He's just not. He's a blocking tight end at best. He's not good. He's not someone to come in and make a play. Slayton and coach haven't really done a lot. Wandale's not done a lot either this season. So I think I'm going with the Saints 100%. I'm not even going to act like I'm questioning or debating it. I'm not even considering us winning this game, and I'm not considering us winning another game. But unfortunately for us, this might be a slip up where we do actually somehow win, and I really hope that's wrong. But assuming you'll actually be buzzing and hope that it actually does happen.
I am convinced that the New York Football Giants are going to move to 3-10, and here's why: the Saints are not a very good team. Taysom Hill's been ruled out, like you say, main threat. Okay, Dexter Lawrence has been ruled out. Defense wins championships, but offense can win you a game. Whether yeah, true, yeah, there is true a lot, but Tracy and Singletary are fine. I think they probably can win you a game on the ground if given enough, attempts and stuff. Malik Neighbors is still Malik Neighbors. If you put the ball in his radius, he's probably going to catch it. It doesn't need to be a perfect pass. Drew Lock, he can run, he can rush well, as we saw on Thursday. There's enough for me in that Giants team to run this game close. And like you say, the Saints' main weapon was Taysom Hill, but he's injured. I watched Derek Carr without weapons for a couple of seasons, and Derek Carr with no weapons, you may as well put your head coach out there because he is atrocious when he's got no one to throw to, as is many quarterbacks, to be fair. Not many of them are great. But yeah, I really don't know. It's going to be a close game. It's more just me sort of going with my heart. I want that first overall pick. So yeah, give me the Giants, but what a shocking game. This season's drawing to a close. Games like that makes me want it to finish.
Yeah, I mean,
shocking.
I'd like to say about Malik Neighbors as well. For some reason, him and CeeDee Lamb have developed a drop issue in the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's going on with the pair of them, but they can't catch a ball for the life of them for some reason. I saw it with CD on that Thanksgiving game. They both just couldn't catch anything. Yeah. It was literally horrific. But hopefully that's not a consistent thing with Malik Neighbors because he's been absolutely unbelievable apart from that. But yeah, I mean, our running backs are probably our only hope of winning the game. Let's be honest. I think Tyrone Tracy, thank the Lord, is a saving point. I forgot to mention him in our draft class in the preview review video. Sorry, but he's been unbelievable as well. What a steal he was in the draft to get him in the 4th round, I believe it was. So, yeah, just unbelievable pickup for us. He's going to save us with the whole, you should have kept Saquon rubbish. I refuse to talk about it anymore because it's just doing my head in. But, yeah, we just needed something to take out of the season. And the positives we take out of the season is we've got a really good wide receiver and a really good running back and a decent overall little team. So we'll soon find out, but it's not going to be decent this week and we're going to lose. Next up, potential repeat of the sort of snowgate we had in Cleveland. If Max was here, I'm sure he'd love to ramble on about this for 4 hours about how the Steelers are going to lose, how the Browns are going to do another win over the Steelers. But I mean, I don't know what you think, but I'm not so sure.
I'm certainly not sure. There's no one who wants to win this game more than the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot got said after that game in Cleveland. A lot of clowning on players like George Pickens after he came out and said, it was the snow, and people said, it's snowing for both teams. Look, the Browns are not a good football team. Jameis Winston is a fun quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's not a consistent quarterback. He's not a franchise guy. If he could fix his interception issues, fuck me, he'd be the next Tom Brady. But he can't. I don't know what he sees when he looks downfield. I think he might need to go get tested for glasses or something. But yeah, I think the Steelers are going to win. The Browns are a shocking football team, but they've just won enough games to sort of pull them away from being the worst. It would have probably been more beneficial to them if they were the worst. They're not going to take a quarterback. They might actually, but isn't it because obviously they've come out and said they want real competition for Deshaun Watson, whether that ends up being a free agent or someone like Nussmeier, who for me is not competition at all. Who knows? But look, they're a strange franchise. They do strange things. They picked up Deshaun Watson after everything that came out about him. So, they don't have rational thinking. But yeah, give me the Steelers. The Browns are not great.
Yeah, I don't really. I can add much more to that. I am also going with the Steelers. I don't know apart from the Giants, I don't think we've disagreed once this so far.
No.
We tend to have quite similar anyway if you look at the other weeks. But yeah, it's just I just don't see a world where the Browns win again. Jameis Winston is just ridiculous. It's so hilarious to watch. For 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, you think, oh my god, he's the best quarterback ever. You click on his little stats, and you see 3 interceptions. Like, all right, that's how they lost the game then. Because it's quite impressive to get nearly a 500-yard game for your quarterback, a 230-yard game from one receiver, and 100+ on Elijah Moore, and you still lose the game.
Do you know if you showed someone his stat lines, but you took away the interception?
Yeah, they probably think
he was like the greatest to ever do it.
You genuinely think he's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Like if you just took away the interceptions from him, he'd be great. But yeah, you're not going to take the interceptions out of Jameis Winston, and you're not going to take the losing out of Cleveland.
No.
So give me the Steelers to get their little revenge game at home as well. So that should play a part as well. Next up for me, probably one of the harder ones. Again, it's been difficult ones to predict, but Cardinals with Seahawks. I think we might disagree on this one, but I'm not all too sure.
I'm very torn. I still don't really know. I've got the Cardinals written down, but the Seahawks are on a 3-game winning streak, albeit not great teams. The Cardinals would love to win this game. Look, they're both still in contention for winning that division. So it's a huge, huge game. I think whoever wins this one probably wins that division. They're both going to be up for it. Cardinals have looked a bit not great last couple of games. But look, they're a team that can just switch it on. We've seen it time and time again throughout the season. You write the Cardinals off. The Cardinals come back and do what they can do. Kyler Murray probably needs to shave because he hasn't in a couple of weeks and it's looking a bit strange. But yeah, give me the Cardinals because I just don't get the Seahawks. I don't get what they are. They're a strange team, just in the middle of it all. Geno Smith is an older man. They're never going to go anywhere where they got Geno at quarterback. But then he seems to win enough games to not get them in a position to pick up someone good enough. So I feel like we could see mediocre Seahawks, playoff Seahawks, not Super Bowl Seahawks. So yeah, give me the Cardinals because like I've just said, the Seahawks, I just don't get it.
I don't get it either, but I am going to back them because it's such a weird team. I feel like I've backed against them so many times and it's always backfired on me. So I'm going to try and not make the same mistake again, but then don't let me down now that I have backed them. I think they're just playing well. They're good. I think they're a good football team. I'm not saying they got the best players, but they're a good football team. They're together as a unit. They work well as a team, and they're just winning games. They're 7-5. You can't argue it. And as you said, this is a massive game for that division because, as you said, the winner probably goes through and wins this division. So especially for the Seahawks, because they can pull a 2-game lead on the Cardinals if they win this game, which is massive for them. That literally locks it in for them. It'll be a bit more difficult for the Cardinals, even if they win, because they then level with the Seahawks, and it's going to be about whatever happens for the rest of the season. But yeah, I am going to bet the Seahawks. I just think something about them, they just always seem to let me down when I bet against them. So I'm going to try and bet for them and see if anything happens this week. See if it proves me wrong or proves me right. No idea. Next up, this should be a pretty straightforward one, maybe a bit of challenge, but the Rams against the Bills. I imagine it's a pretty straightforward selection.
As straightforward as it has been with the Bills all season. I know they've lost 2, but they're a really, really good football team. I love Josh Allen. Someone put out a tweet on Thanksgiving saying, "What are you thankful for?" And he was one of my 3. I just love watching him. He's just such a good quarterback. That is a team who deserve to be the 1 seed in the AFC, not the Chiefs. They're boring the life out of games. They're winning close games. Referees are helping them. They've got close calls. It's just a similar Chiefs that we always see. But yeah, give me the Bills because I just love them to get a number 1 seed and people to have to go all the way through Buffalo to get to the Super Bowl, because I don't think if they're the 1 seed, anyone is making the Super Bowl apart from the Bills in the AFC.
Well, the Chiefs when they know to get their playoff win over the Bills.
Well, yeah, there is that, yeah. Tyler Bass.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add that. Going with the Bills. Rams, just been terrible. It's just not been their year at all. Can probably regroup. You can accept it as a Rams fan, probably. You've just been plagued with injuries everywhere. Just not been ideal. I still think there would be a high scoring game, I think, because the Rams are very good on offense. Stafford's still great. Cup and Nakua are still really good. I think, the whole line struggles a bit with pass protection, and that defense also struggles a fair bit. But Jared Verse as well, definitely been their bright spot from this season as far as knowing their draft selection was correct, because he's been potential rookie of the year candidate on the defensive side of things anyway. He's been absolutely unbelievable, I think. And he probably will win that defensive rookie of the year, be him or Quinion Mitchell, I'd imagine, or even Cooper DeJean. Any of them, really. Wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, going with the Bills for another should be a straightforward win for them. Next up, another difficult one to predict. The 49ers, without Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason, against the Chicago Bears, coming off of that defeat to the Detroit Lions. I'm going to start us off. I was torn for a while because it's hard to back against 49ers in certain ways, because they could just turn it on and end up being unreal again. But with their record and without CMC or Mason, I just don't see Garendo being able to pick up the slack. And Purdy for 99 yards last week is not a good omen at all. I think the Bears, they're just not a great team either, but I think they've got more about them. Had a good game against the Lions, and they've been good. Even when they've been losing recently, they've been playing well, been playing better. So I'm going to go with the Bears to win this one.
I'm going to agree with you. If you imagine we'd have said this a couple of weeks ago, people would be like, what the fuck? But yeah, look, they've lost. Eberflus is gone now. That's the man who lost them that game. Overall, that is who lost them that game on Thursday. I want them to win a game. So it's a little bit biased, but I also have reasons to back it up. That connection with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, that's growing every week. As you mentioned in the review episode, Doomsday's getting more of the ball as well. I just think that it's going to click at some stage. They might go on a bit of a run from now until the end of the season. So people will shut up about wrong decision, you pick the wrong quarterback, all that sort of stuff. Give me the Bears. I like them, and the Niners are in big trouble now without the 2 main running backs, because that's a run-heavy scheme. So,
yeah. Final 2 games. First up of the final 2 is a huge matchup in the AFC. I think it's going to be one of the most important games for both of these teams' seasons, as far as it's the Chiefs versus Chargers. So the Chiefs sort of holding on to that number 1 seed, and the Chargers on vice versa, making sure they end up in the playoffs, obviously, because they know they're not going to win their division with how the Chiefs have been playing. I'm going to start off because you don't ever want to back against the Chiefs, because there's always a way with the Chiefs. They always find their way to win. And the one time I actually should have backed against them, I didn't, was the Bills game, and they did actually win. So I'm not going to make the same mistake again. I'm going to take the Chargers. I really like the Chargers. I've said it for weeks now. That how long I'm going to have to keep on saying it. I really like the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert is an unbelievable quarterback, and now he's got that dual threat about him. I think he's great. Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL, hands down. I don't think anyone can really argue it. He's transformed what was a mediocre Chargers team into a potential AFC contender with how they've been playing. They made Quentin Johnson look good, which is quite impressive in itself. I think J.K. Dobbins has been great. Gus Edwards has been good when he's come back in. I just don't see many weaknesses in this Chargers team. The O-line's fantastic. The defense is great. Like, it's just overall fantastic football team. And I think the Chiefs are going to get caught out and exposed for what they really are. And it is not a team that should be 11-1 in the NFL. So give me the Chargers in this one.
I'm going to have to agree with you, actually. It does always feel weird when both of the people on the panel, or when there's four of us, go against the Chiefs. It just feels wrong. But, obviously I watched them on Friday. I watched them beat us. But, in a game where our centre at the time doesn't make that individual error, we win. Simple as that. Well, it depends on Carson's kick, but it's a high percentage kick. You're probably going to kick and win that game. The Chiefs have had so many games like that this season as well, where it's been one-score games. Even down to 1 point games. That's 2 1 point games I can remember as well for the Chiefs. So I don't know. I'm really not convinced by them at all. Seems to be, and Travis Kelce went straight off the field after the game as well. Didn't stick around. Speaking to him, literally left straight away. Could have been the orders of Taylor Swift, to be fair. But yeah, I don't like the Chargers, but I'm pretty high on them. They've been really good. This is, that's a team that, we put 60 points up against them last year with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. So, it's crazy to see what they are now. But I don't like backing against the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs. I also don't like the Chargers. So it's a terrible game for me. But give me the Chargers solely because I want the Bills to get the 1 seed. Because I just think having to watch people go through Buffalo in the playoffs when it's snowing and it's cold and it's horrible would be great.
Finally, Monday Night Football, and not the same to be said about this game compared to Thursday Night Football. We have the Cowboys against the Bengals, probably the most mediocre game of football you're ever going to watch. It might end up being exciting. As an avid Cowboys hater, I'm going with the Bengals. I'm sorry. They're not going to be able to stop Joe Burrow if they let Drew Lock run for 60 yards and a touchdown. They struggle to keep us at bay. If they struggle to keep our offense at bay, God help them against the Bengals offense and as I said, they're not going to get the freedom on offense that they did against us. Rico Dowdle's not going to get that sort of freedom even though the Bengals defense isn't great, it's still tenfold better than ours. At the minute, I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is just going to be impossible for the Cowboys to stop. I don't see where they have anyone who can stop that pairing. I think that alone is enough for me to go with the Bengals, and that's what I'm really going to say about it. I don't think I need much more to justify why the Bengals are going to win this game. I'm going with the Bengals.
No, I completely agree with you. Bengals keep losing out these tight games, but this isn't going to be a tight game. Even if the Bengals defense doesn't stop them very often, they're going to stop them more than the Cowboys defense is going to stop the Bengals offense, because the Bengals offense is just so good. They're putting up consistently shitloads of points and losing games. They're going to win this one. This will be a pretty tight, straightforward win. It's going to be a pretty mediocre game, though. I think it might be a time for me to catch up on the sleep that I've lost on Sunday due to that Sunday night football game, and then move on to the next week. But yeah, give me the Bengals. I really don't like the Cowboys as a football team and just as a franchise in general because Jerry Jones exists. So yeah, Bengals.
Right, that's the end of our predictions for this week. Now, we always do a little question or two at the end. I'm going to throw this one to you, and it's going to be a repeat of one we did earlier in the season, just to see where our heads are at now with it. I don't know if you can guess it or not.
But I can't already.
Who do you think is going to now be, based on what you've seen up to week 13, the Super Bowl matchup in...
Nope. We had a slight buffer there, but it's getting on a bit, so we're just going to pretend it didn't happen. Everyone just pretend. I am torn. I'm definitely not taking the Texans anymore. I threw them in there as a bit of an outside shot. I genuinely believe it'll be the Bills and the Lions. It's not even just me counting out the Chiefs because I don't like the Chiefs, and these are obviously two teams that are serial bottlers in the playoffs and stuff. But I think there's bottling, and there's just being a good team and being almost too good to bottle. You've got a lot of big characters in these teams. Jared Goff's been there. He's not won a Super Bowl. He's been in the Super Bowl. He knows how to get there, is what I'm trying to say. The Bills haven't got over that hurdle with Josh Allen, but, he's maturing as a player. It'd be a lovely little gift for him after he's just got engaged. So yeah, give me Bills Lions. I think it's a Super Bowl we all want because we just don't hate either of the teams. I wouldn't actually know who to cheer for. I'd be happy if either of them won. So I'd almost rather the fucking Chiefs got in. But give me the Lions and the Bills because that'd just be such an exciting game. They're two really good offenses going up against each other. I just love it. So yeah, them two.
Yeah. Again, that's what I'd want. If you ask me what I want, it's definitely the Lions. But I'm going in my head and I think about the Chiefs against the Bills in the playoffs. I just think it's inevitable. They're going to just turn it on when they need to. They don't need to be good now. They're going to end up with at least the 2 seed at the absolute worst, let alone potentially the 1 seed at the best. They don't need to turn it on yet. They've been poor. They're 11-2 or whatever it is, or 11-1. Sorry, like when you're poor and you're 11-1, it just sort of speaks volumes about your football team. And I think when they get to the playoffs, the Chiefs are a different animal to what they are in the regular season. We've sort of seen it most years when they've won the Super Bowl, haven't been the standout best team in the NFL through the regular season, but they get to the playoffs and they are by far the best team in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be the Chiefs against the Lions. I don't see a world where it's not the Lions. I think it'd have to be the Eagles to take them out. If it's going to be anyone, I don't think anyone else in the NFC has a chance. Not going with the Vikings I did in week 3 or whatever it was. I've left the delusion now. They'll do well. I think they'll win a playoff game, but I don't think they'll get much further in the divisional rounds. But I am going to go with the Lions. Unfortunately, the Chiefs, which will make it easy because I feel like I can just back the Lions and then hate. The entire evening, which albeit is a very long evening with the Super Bowl on. That is all we have for you for this week's preview for week 14. So we'll be back next week with our predictions as always, hopefully with more than just me and Kian next week. Thank you for Kian to joining me, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and all that good stuff, and we will see you all next week.
Yep, see you next week.